Hey guys, Weeb here. Welcome back to another video by Variety MMOs. In today's video, we're going to be talking about 10 noob mistakes to avoid in Lost Ark. So Lost Ark has a lot of stuff in it because it is a game that's a couple of years old on Korea. There is many different methods to get ahead or to get to the next item level, to unlock the next tier of content, and things like that. If you make certain mistakes, for example, not going for the right material or spending gold on stuff that you shouldn't, you're not going to be able to get over the item level thresholds to access new types of content. So it's really important that you don't make some of these newbie mistakes, which are really painful to the point that you will not have the items required to move on, so you'll have no choice but to go back and grind another character while you're waiting for your dailies and or weeklies to reset. So let's get right into it. In my opinion, the number one mistake to avoid early on is by not gathering. So as soon as you hit level 25 and you're in Lake Bar Village, you're going to be able to do some life skills, get some ore, and use up your points pretty early on. So if you open up B, you'll see that I have 10,000 points because this isn't my account that I gather on. But I would strongly recommend that you start gathering immediately. So gathering is going to get more effective the more you use it. So the more you gather, the better materials you're going to get, the better gear and consumables you're going to be able to make. There's also a couple other reasons for this. So for example, if you don't start your gathering early, we all know that bots are coming to Lost Ark. It's a free-to-play MMO, it has a lot of hype, bots are going to come. And you have to compete against bots on open world tiles, where you have to fight for the resources. Anyone who's played an MMO before would know how painful that is. So I would strongly recommend that as soon as you hit 25, go and use your gathering points. There's also another reason that you'd want to do this early, which we'll talk about in the next noob mistake. So this is your Stronghold. So some people decide not to really lean into the Stronghold, and there's a lot of reasons why. Like, for example, on Korea, you get so many containers like... Apparently, I don't have any on me. So you get a lot of containers and boxes that have a lot of items in it, like consumable items, that basically they give to you to accelerate your content. However, in NA, in my opinion, you're not going to get anywhere near as many consumables, so you're going to be more reliant on either yourself to make your consumables, or to buy it from those pesky bots, which we know are definitely coming to a free-to-play MMORPG. So I'll talk more about this in another video by itself, but the Stronghold has a bunch of timers. So for example, building constructs in here, sending away missions, it's all based on timers. It all takes a long time to level up and access later on content, which again, I'll talk more about later in another video. But since it's based on timers, as soon as you unlock the estate, you're going to want to start leveling things immediately. So it's going to take a little bit of gold, but it's also going to take a bunch of resources like wood, stone. So make sure that you get some resources and you start upgrading your Stronghold as soon as humanly possible. So the third mistake that I've heard people doing is not using battle items frequently. So battle items are your items that are located down here. So for example, your robes, your tracking devices, which I assume everybody's using, potions, and most importantly, bombs. So when it comes to doing the quest line, a lot of characters struggle a little bit when it comes to some of the bosses. So when it comes up to the bosses, just throw bombs at them. Like, it doesn't matter, just throw bombs. Just keep throwing bombs. Every time the cooldown comes off, throw it at the boss, and it'll knock down their stagger bar, which will make them stagger, and you can do a lot of damage on top of that, and the bomb does a lot of damage to begin with. So while the bombs are incredibly important, you should always use them on bosses when going throughout the storyline. Something I want to touch on is the battle potion. So the battle potion is something that you may or may not get in containers in NA. Not entirely sure yet. But these, the ones you do get, are going to be character bound. If you can avoid using them, please do. You don't want to use your percentage ones. So I've seen many people spam them and run out of them. You can get more of them by gathering basic herbs and making more in the house, which is relatively easy, but it takes a bit of time. But you want to save as many battle potions as you can because there's quite a lot of content in the game that can only take battle potions. So try to keep these up if you can. Generally, you just want to use your basic HP pots, whatever you got when leveling through your story, and throw your bombs, and then use these if you have to, but try to hang on to them. So in Lost Ark, there are 3 main ways of transportation. First and foremost would be using your embark liner, which will allow you to go from place to place. You have to unlock some of these places by going so far in the questline to actually unlock them on your particular account. As you can see on this account, I have yet to reach them. The second would to be getting to a boat and sailing to different places. Now, as you can imagine, that is quite annoying because there's a lot of obstructions, a lot of events and whatnot that can really get in your way, and honestly, it's the most fun thing to do. The best way to teleport around is by using your Trifrost. So up here, you have your Bifrost management. So what this does is it allows you to go up to an exact location and hit save location. Confirm. So now, if I hit this, wherever I am in the water, I will teleport to this exact spot. And you can use it, and all it takes is a couple of gems, as you can see. So you can't use it too often, but 1,000 silver, which is peanuts, and allows you to teleport to anywhere you want. Like, for example, I haven't unlocked on this account the ability to instantly sail over here, so I've set a point here so I can instantly teleport across for my dailies and my other reasons for getting across instead of spending time getting around. So make sure you unlock your Bifrost either by getting the blessing or by getting the keys in game, which I obtain a couple different ways. One of them being unlocking all of your adventure logs, but that is going to take a while, so don't try rushing through that. So number 5 would be stacking quests. So this is something that I personally tried doing. I'm not entirely sure why I thought it would work, but I assume that some other people might try something similar, and it was quite painful. So what I tried doing, for example, is I tried using the Yule quests in here. So I completed my maximum amount of weekly quests. And then I completed the quest, another weekly, and I left it in the log as complete. So when the week ended and crossed over, I was going to hit complete and instantly get a weekly done. However, what happens is when the reset happens, it resets all your complete quests, even if you haven't handed them in as well. It's pretty unfortunate, so you can't stack quests like that and complete them all in one go. So number 6, time-limited sales. So this is basically, you have an X amount of time to go and buy items before they change. So the 2 that I want to specifically talk about here are Mary's shop, which is in the store. So first off, you can go to currency exchange and you can trade gold into diamonds or the vice versa. But by doing so, you can get yourself diamonds and then go into Mary's secret store here, which sells you good deals for your gems. So if you have enough gold, you can do that transfer. The other thing would be a traveling merchant. So the traveling merchant is going to move from area to area, and you kind of have to catch him and buy items before he disappears. If you're in a group, they could usually track him down and tell you where he is, or if you look at the website, which I will link below, it'll give you some more information on the traveling merchant. But these are just 2 things that have kind of time-limited sales, and you want to make sure that you check them, so if there's any real items come up, that you get them before they run out. So at the beginning of the video, I mentioned some mistakes that you can make that can critically hurt your account. This would be one of the ones that I'm talking about. So in Lost Ark, it has been confirmed that you're going to have the ability to knowledge transfer. What this means is that if you spend gold, for example, on this one here and apply it to an alt, your alt will get this gear score and it'll automatically get the quest done up to this point. Now, considering that accounts take 1 to 3 days, depending on who's leveling it and just how experienced you are, that's a lot of grinding that nobody wants to do. So it's very tempting to use your initial gold to instantly level up a couple alts and then tell yourself you're going to use these alts to make more gold. I don't recommend it. So at the very beginning of the game, I would recommend making a couple of alts and focusing that alt gold and resources you get to get your main class to a higher tier. So when your higher class gets to a higher tier, that higher class will make much more gold. And when you're making more gold, then you can use it to upgrade these alts. If you do it too early, what's going to happen is you're going to have some alts which are leveled, but you're not going to have any gold to level up your main character, and you're going to hit a wall that you can't get by unless you just literally wait time and wait for the resets to happen. So I would recommend doing 2 to 3 accounts, getting up to T3, make sure you're set up, then start leveling the rest of your ults or whoever you want to do by doing this method. So number 8 would be your gold income, specifically talking about your dailies and your Uno quest. So when you're doing this quest, you're going to get tokens and you're going to hand them into your local gold exchange in a city. However, if you use a smaller amount of tokens to get a smaller sack, that means you're going to get overall less gold. It is RNG to a point. Like, for example, you can get a hardy gold sack and get a gold bar just out of RNG. But in general, it's better to try to save more tokens and use them to buy a bigger item. While here, I'd also like to note, do not turn your gold into silver. That is not worth it. Big new mistake. Do not do it. So the next thing I want to talk about is opening gifts. Now, we don't know how many gifts we're going to get on NA compared to Russia or Korea. However, if you get items like this, as you can see, this box offers me higher amounts of less powerful potions, and as the potions get more powerful, it offers me less of them. Some people just see, oh, 15 battle potions, let me just open all these boxes. Don't do that. When it comes to containers, unless you absolutely need an item, do not open them. Because, for example, when you're doing really high-end content, you're going to want these higher battle potions. Also, if you're actually gathering and doing that side of the gameplay, you're going to get many of your own green battle potions for silver. It costs peanuts to get them. So you would never want to open up a battle box to get items that you're basically paying peanuts to get to begin with. So when it comes to boxes, do not open them unless you absolutely need the item that's inside. Okay, so the 10th thing that I want to talk about is much similar to the last one I just spoke about when it comes down to your engravings. So you're going to get items like this, and it's going to say select one item. So when you open it, you get to select one engraving. You want to really make sure that you understand your class and have a class guide and everything else to figure out exactly which engraving you want for your character before opening them. Like, for example, some people like me made the mistake of looking at saying, that looks interesting, clicking on it and opening 10. And opening up all my books for an item that I didn't need. So please do not open up your engraving items unless you absolutely know what build that you're going to run with. So to close out today's video, I want to emphasize something that I have come across in other MMOs. So I have come across many MMOs, I've covered many MMOs, and in some communities what ended up happening is that the community is so focused on how do I get the best gold per minute, how do I get the best DPS per minute, and it gets to the point where, for example, some people will say, I don't want your class in my dungeon because it does a little less damage, which is negligible. Or, I'm not going to do gathering or any events. I'm only going to run this dungeon on 14 different characters in a row, and that's all I'm going to do. That's not fun gameplay, and it leads to burnout. Now, you can do that and get slight advantages if that's something you want to do, but I don't recommend it because I've seen too many people burn out of communities simply because they're going for the maximum amount of efficiency. You can be 95% efficiency and still have a lot of fun by doing a stronghold, doing gathering, doing different characters, and having fun with people. I understand that people want to be efficient, but if you want to run the maximum amount of characters and just grind through your dungeons on repeat, that is definitely something you can do in this game, and something that a lot of people are going to tell you to do, which I personally wouldn't recommend. I just want to mention this because I think it's important that people have a bit of fun in MMOs rather than just trying to get ahead. Enough about that. That covers the 10 new mistakes to avoid in Lost Ark. Hopefully this helps you avoid some of the pitfalls that I ran into, which personally made my gameplay pretty painful. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.